Yeah, man. Going live with Gabe Macias very soon, talking through uh, a lot of updates since the last time I've spoken with him. He's gotten his own gym. He's changed his business model up. He's switched up his training style a little bit, made some adjustments to it, I believe. And I definitely want to see what's going on court. Definitely want to see what Gabe is up to now, what he's dreaming big for. Drew, what's up, man? Very impressive, dude. Fractured your leg in two spots and you're back to walking in 2 weeks, man. Like crazy, crazy. So happy for you with the progress you made, man. Good talking to you yesterday too. Got Gabe Macias coming here soon. He will be joining the live. He's a basketball trainer out in the San Diego area, and no, he is a young trainer that is, I don't want to say up and coming, man, because he's been on the map, he's been on the scene, he's been influencing people more than what they would say, than what they realize, and great trainer, very studious, knows a lot. I learned from him, especially from the social media game, and his thought process. And he also uses the playbook too. So hopefully we get a chance to talk a little bit about the playbook and see how it's helped him, his training business, and talking about his own gym too. Like he used to rent other courts. Now he has his own facility, where his own space in the facility where he can train right now. So whenever Gabe gets here, we're going to talk through those things. And you guys, if you have any questions for Gabe from a training perspective as a basketball player, or if you have any questions as a trainer, I think he is somebody who was really good to ask. He's definitely fresh in the training space. He's seasoned, but also fresh. And I think he's just so young, man, to talk to those who are younger about what it's like to actually get into this training space, to have people who doubt you, to have multiple injuries. We talk about injuries, right? Hey, but to be honest, Drew, I know you always keep it real. Gabe's a great trainer too. Ryan's my guy. I talked to Ryan, not as much as I used to. Saw him in June. Ryan is different, man. Like the way his mind thinks and the way he processes information and the speed in which he processes information. Very confident too, man. Like he like imputes confidence on you, I think, when you talk to him, for sure. Very assured in himself. Ryan's built differently, but Gabe has worked with Ryan before too. So they're both great trainers. I don't know how far away. I think that's another question to ask Gabe. See how far he is from Ryan. I think he's about an hour away. Ross, what's going on, man? I gotta update you on the playbook, on the software, man. I haven't seen Jack in a while, but I know I'm supposed to be seeing him pretty soon. But hope everything's going well with you. Software's picking up too, by the way. I want to pick your brain on that as usual. Drew, that makes sense. Yes, you would train with Gabe to get better and train with Ryan to get on TikTok. Ryan could do both though, and Gabe could do both. They both have pretty solid presences on on Instagram and on TikTok. I don't know, man. Gabe's got an interesting way of thinking about these things. I don't know where Gabe is, man. I'm gonna have to give Gabe a hard-ish time when he gets on the live, because I don't get on here just to talk about stuff myself usually. So working backwards again. Gabe's got his own gym. So talking to how he got that set up. I know that's the dream for most trainers. I think it has pros and cons too, though, which I know he'll talk about. He changed his business model. I won't share how he changed it. Maybe he'll share it. Maybe he'll share what he's thinking in the future. We may change what we're doing to match what Gabe is doing with his business model. Definitely helps the retention. I will say that much. It helps with improving the athlete more than anything. You think about coming to train one time every 3 weeks, unless you're putting in a lot of work at home, it's not going to be as effective as it would be if there were a consistent training schedule and you were there on a consistent basis. And Gabe's a dreamer, man. I know a lot of people want to play in the NBA, play in college. They have these different goals. Gabe is a dreamer when it comes to his goals with his whether it's basketball training. With basketball, I think he had two ACL injuries. That's something to ask him about too. But I low key may get off of this live and then see where Gabe is and then come right back. So I appreciate you guys joining this. This is going to be I will be back so I can talk with Gabe and we can get an interview. So this will be much more interesting than. Oh, my bad, Gabe. I didn't even see you join, man. Hold on. Let me bring you on here instead of unfollowing you. Let's see. How do I do that? See, I'm showing my. There we go. Okay, cool. Invited. Gabe, what's up?
Yo, what's going on, Myson? Can you hear me?
I can. I don't know what was going on. I know I'm not savvy with.
Yeah, no, I joined like a while ago and I kept trying to press request and it wasn't like letting me press request. So I don't know if it was like maybe you had to invite me or something, but it just wasn't letting me join for whatever reason.
The weird part, when with IG Live, what I'm noticing, I people who are joining right now who are viewing it, but I didn't see you join it. So I see like two people viewing, but in
Um,
reality, like five, six people here. You know, maybe more.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
So,
don't yeah, I've not I haven't done IG live in a very long time, so I'm still kind of new with it too.
whatever, man. How
So,
you talk? I mean, obviously follow through Friday, but we haven't
mhm.
talked like this in public in a while or with other people in a while.
Yeah, no, I've been good, man. Just super busy, just trying some new things out, studying a lot, reading a lot about the mindset, the mental part of the game. That's something I've always been big on, but I don't know if you ever heard of this book called The Inner Game of Tennis.
Man,
Um,
just bought it. I just bought it.
oh, yeah, I'm
Good.
reading it right now and it's insane. Like I've studied confidence before, but this is like a whole different approach. Like
Mm.
it's honestly some of the stuff that I used to like read and study before, I'm realizing like this was a way better method and a way better way to kind of attack it. So it's kind of changing my perspective on the mental side of the game. But I'm happy about it because I'm going to be able to take it back to the players I work with and whatnot and help them add it into their game and whatnot.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. I got it propped up, so I'm not sure if it gets choppy. So,
Okay.
what have you started studying that have resonated with you, but have not? But I just bought Conscious Coaching. I bought so many books that are recommended
Mm.
mastery.
That's a good question. Dang. I want to say, like, so, like, what I do is when I'm starting to study, so, like, I got, like, some books right here with me. So, I got, obviously, The Inner Game of Tennis, told you about this one. I just finished this book, got this book on my desk. It's called How We Learn to Move.
Yeah.
Just finished reading that one. And every time, like, I'm learning something new, like, what used to happen in the past is when I would study something new, I would just be like, oh, wow, that's super cool information and never do anything about it. But now, when I'm doing something new, I literally apply it that day. So like if I had a session today, whatever I read in How We Learn to Move or whatever I read in the Inner Game of Tennis, I'm just gonna talk about it that day and just kind of implement it into sessions. That way, I'm actually getting the practice, because sometimes, like I said, I just would learn something and never do anything about it. So now I'm really trying to take action and implement that type of stuff.
What is one thing you've taken from the inner game of tennis and how we move? What's one thing you've taken from it that you notice has had an immediate effect, and what's one thing that you really don't think worked as well as you thought it would?
So for How We Learn to Move, I kind of already knew like a lot of the concepts. It's the author's Rob Gray. I already kind of knew a lot of the concepts that Rob Gray talks about, but it takes like a deeper dive into it. So it really kind of breaks it down and helps you understand it a little bit more because it's a lot of science based. So it's a lot of stuff to comprehend, and so he kind of just makes it a little bit easier for you to understand. And one thing I've really started to work with is differential learning. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's just pretty much like instead of giving a player, tell them to rip out a certain move, like a certain technique. So let's say we do like a cross jab, and I'm telling them how to do it, giving them the step by step. Like instead of just doing that, I'm gonna tell them like, all right, I want you to do a crossover, but every time you do a crossover, has to be a different way. So maybe you're changing your heights. Maybe you're changing, a wide or a tight crossover. Maybe you're shifting a certain way. So like I'm giving them the opportunity to kind of explore and figure out, they're figuring out new ways that they can cross over, new things that they've never done before, and so studies show that that actually sticks, and players are able to retain it more when they're able to figure it out on their own. So we might be able to teach them a cross jab. We might be able to, teach them how to do it, when to do it and stuff, but they might forget the next day. I'm sure have experienced that. I've experienced it plenty of times, teaching kids new moves and whatnot. And they take a while to get it. And then like they finally get it. And then you see them a week later and they don't remember how to do it. So, Rob Gray talks about just like how this stuff like sticks more when they're able to figure it out on their own, and just try new things and experiment. So that's pretty much what I've been doing with how we learn to move. With the inner game of tennis, I do like a cool thing at the end of my sessions, like the last 5 to 10 minutes of every session. I give players an accountability journal. So they have to pull out that accountability journal the last 5 to 10 minutes, and we're just going to talk about the mental side of the game. They're going to jot things down. We'll assign them homework. And so with the inner game of tennis, I'm only like 5 chapters in, but like every chapter I read, I just talked about a specific thing that I learned that day in the book. So like the main, I guess the main topic of the book is like, so you have two, I guess, two selves within yourself. So like self one is the conscious self. So you kind of just like breaking everything down in your head. Oh, snap your wrist, put your elbow in, put your foot there. That's your conscious self. Then you have self two, who's the, unconscious self, who doesn't really just like think, they don't know what they're doing, like when people are going crazy and they're getting buckets. And then you ask them, like, what did you do right there? And they're like, I have no idea. Or people say like, oh, he's in the zone. That's pretty much like your self two. So your unconscious self. And it's pretty much teaching you how to get to self two, and how to kind of work together, get the two to work together in order to, succeed. Because a lot of players, they just are always in self one and they're never in self two. So it kind of just, stunts their growth a little bit. But I'm not all the way done with it. So I haven't, figured out everything yet, but I'm still learning. So it's good though.
What's one, I guess, one nugget that if you open it up and you saw, I don't know if you're an underliner or dot guy or how you specify information, but what's one thing that you have figured out that you would like to share with other people that you've noted before?
Sorry, can you say it again, because it kind of cut out a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. What's one thing that you like if I were to open your book right now
Mm.
and see an underline or a highlight or a star, what's that point that stood out to you that you can remember and share with other people?
Ooh, that's a good question. So in my books, I don't really like underline or like mark it up. What I do is I have like a notebook. So I have it's right here on my desk. I got this like notebook right here. After every chapter, I review the chapter and I write down like, okay, this is what I learned today in this chapter.
Okay.
Just because I like to go back and reread things, and if I learn something new, I'm just going to put it, in the notebook. But I guess something that I learned, there's actually something on this last chapter I read yesterday. Let's see if I can find it real quick. It's pretty much saying, okay, so it says, it's literally last paragraph. It says, letting go of judgments, the art of creating images, and letting it happen are the three basic skills involved in the inner game. So it pretty much talks about how you have to let go of judgments and not, judge yourself or judge others. Um, and then when you are struggling, let's say you're like in a shooting slump or something, instead of telling yourself to snap your wrist or lock out your elbow or make sure your stance is wide, instead of telling yourself that, you need to create like an image in your head of it. So picture it, picture your follow through, just being perfect. Instead of like telling yourself to put your elbow above your eyebrow, imagine it, your elbow above your eyebrow. Different things like that. So that was the biggest thing I took away from it. They talk about those three main points, and that was something that I was like, wow, I never really like thought of that. I always knew like about visualization and like visualizing maybe before a game, um, or just like visualizing when you're meditating or something. But I never thought of it in the sense of when you're struggling.
It kind of cut out, Gabe. Last thing I heard was
Shoot, sorry. Can you hear me?
they will actually struggling.
Okay, so yeah, so like when you're struggling, I never knew that you should be, imagining like you being successful, you putting yourself in these positions. So like I don't know if you heard this part. I know I just said it, but I'm not sure if you heard it. But when you're missing shots, instead of telling yourself like, oh, you need to put your elbow above your eyebrow when you're shooting or whatever, like instead of you telling yourself that, you have to imagine yourself doing it instead. So like picture it in your head, or maybe you're saying when you do your crossover, you need to extend the ball out wide. Like instead of you telling yourself that, like you have to just imagine yourself doing it, and that actually will help you a lot more than telling yourself, I guess. So, like I said, it's all new stuff, but
That's
yeah.
why I suggest that because I need to watch. That's one of the books I'm going to read. I just didn't know which one to start with, man. There's so many recommended out there. And do you know why it's better than telling yourself that, visualizing for saying?
They're gonna talk about, I think, in the next chapter. I was gonna read that today. But so pretty much like, so I think I talked about it earlier, like the self one and the self two thing. So when you're always self one and you're always telling yourself things, you're overthinking it, right? Like let's say say I tell myself, all right, on my next shot, I gotta snap my wrist, I gotta lock out my elbow, I gotta make sure my elbow is above my eyebrow, I have to make sure that my knees are locked out, or I'm telling myself 20 different things. So how am I gonna remember 20 different things when I can literally just imagine myself in that position, like just picture myself. Right now I have a full picture that I can look at in my head. I know what I'm going to be doing. But if you're trying to tell yourself 20 different things, then you might get lucky if you remember a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? So that is why picturing it is a little bit better.
Flipping that. I appreciate you starting with that, man. That's not where
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting. That's perfect, man. I probably will carry some kind of bounce notes, man. 'Cause I think that's part that maybe we may be missing at times. I'm missing, I should say, is communication. Like, what did you what did you pick up from that chapter? This
You're kind of cutting out. Can you repeat
I
that?
would, I guess the part that I'm missing
Mm-hmm.
is picking up from what others perceive from what they read in different chapters or paragraphs. Like it would be powerful if we read the same thing and I'm like, this is what I understood it to say. This is how
Mm-hmm.
I'm, and then you had something different and we kind of go back and forth figuring out how we apply the information because I'm with you for the business books. I'm using this one right now for
Okay.
email sequences and everything, and I'm like reading action. So I'm not just reading for knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
conceptual sake, but I guess switching up, man. How long have you been in your own space, your own gym? You used to rent
Mm-hmm.
other spots, other locations. Now you've had your own spot. Uh, how long has it been?
It'll be a year in November. So
Wow,
it's
congrats.
been, yeah, 10 months. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so it's been about 10 months right now. Coming up on a year pretty quickly. It flew by, man. It's crazy to already think it's been a year, but it's
Yeah.
been awesome. Awesome. I'm loving every second of it.
I was like, what are the pros that you realize going from the what you did a year ago to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so like biggest pro is like I'm choosing the days that I want to train players. Like
Mhm.
before it was like, okay, the gym's available on these days, these are days you have to rent it. Now it's like I'm kind of just set my schedule. I train players Sunday through Wednesday. So I don't
Mm.
train Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Um, and I love it. Maybe in the future I'll add Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but as of right now, I'm just going Sunday through Wednesday. So I have my own schedule, my own times. Um, I don't have anybody to tell me like, oh, like, because what I ran into the problem in the past is some of the gyms out of right now that would be like, oh, like, we have a meeting today. And I'm like, a meeting? What does that have to do with using the using the gym, whatever. But they would be like, yeah, we have a meeting today, so you can't use the gym. So I'd be kind of, screwed over. And that would just happen randomly, So I'd have to tell the players I'm training, like, oh, like workouts canceled today. But what I did end up doing is I would just do like Zoom workouts instead. So I'd be like, we're gonna have a Zoom workout, but it still wasn't, the same as obviously, training players face to face in person. But yeah, so being able to just have a consistent gym, that's been like the biggest thing for me.
What made you not train Thursday, Friday, Saturday? That's 3 days off. I'm sure it gives you time like today to actually unwind and to study, to sharpen your tool, to be better Sunday through Wednesday. What made you decide those days? Oh.
Yeah. So like one Sundays, so when high school season approaches, high school players can really only train on Sundays because they're going Monday through Saturdays or Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna have Sundays all the time for sure because I don't want to like just only have Sundays available like when season starts because what if some players it works better for them on Sundays? So I have Sundays for that reason. I'll still do the younger kids too, and then pretty much like the other days like. So when I was training at the other gyms, my days were I would train players Tuesday, Wednesdays. I used to do Fridays too, but I took away Fridays. But I was doing Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays. And I was like, you know what, like I always want to keep this schedule. I don't want to flip it around for the players either. So like when I switched over to my gym, I just kept that kind of that same schedule. I took away Fridays. Um, because when I first got the gym, it was football season. So
Mhm.
a bunch of kids, wouldn't really like come because they're going to watch the game or
Mm.
they're playing football. So I was like, all right, there's probably no need for to do Fridays. So I was doing Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the longest, and then recently this summer I just opened up Mondays, and we're going Sunday through Wednesday now.
Another question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're obviously if it's too much, then you don't have to answer like we talked beforehand. But what would you say that it's helping you save on the cost that you had you were a renter? And if it is cool, if it's not, I'm sure with my next question will be it's allowed you to kind of switch up the way that you offer your services, right? Or has it
Yeah,
allowed you to save or no?
can you repeat the first question and kind of cut out again?
For sure. Like, have you allowed, has going from renting gyms to having your own space, including like the court, and obviously you have to get the court set up, you have to get the goals, but like
Mm-hmm.
as far as the what you're having to pay monthly to have your own space, is it saving you on a monthly basis? And if it's not, I'm sure that it's helping you to be more creative with how you offer your services.
Yeah, so when I first started, no, it didn't really like I mean honestly, I haven't really been able to save until like shoot, like 5 months ago maybe.
Hmm.
So when I first started, no, because it was a little bit more overhead. Wasn't I mean, I was fine, but it was and one thing actually too that helped me a lot was I started reading the book Profit First.
Ah,
So I realized I was doing all my financials just totally wrong. Like whatever I was making, I would pay myself and I'd pay my expenses. That was pretty much it. Never would put any money away for profit. Never would. I would. Oh, and then I would save money too when I was doing that. But then when I read the book Profit First, I was like, oh crap, I'm not putting away anything for profit. I'm not putting away anything for taxes. I'm not putting anything away, or I wasn't really putting anything away for expenses. I was just pulling it out and just paying whatever I needed to pay.
right.
But now that I've read Profit First, like I have all these different accounts that I can pull from and I'm just pretty much following the book. So it's totally changed the way that I've operated with financials and stuff. Um, but as of late, like I said, 5 months ago, I haven't really been able to save until then, just because of I've been really following Profit First. So like when you really first start Profit First, it might work really well for you, and you might be better than ever, or it might kind of like suck for you, and you might be like, damn, like I've just totally been screwing everything up like with my financials, never really looked at it right. So it could go one or two ways. For me it went, obviously struggled for a little while first, and then now it's kind of started to slowly pick up as the business is growing and whatnot.
So what did you? Because I've been timid to read it. Honestly, man,
Mm,
I've felt like it, and I can't judge it fairly because I haven't read the book, you know.
mm,
But to my outside knowledge, it feels like it's just saying, put your money aside, what you want to pay yourself first, and then figure out what else you have left for the other expenses that really aren't necessary. They're not fixed expenses that you need. Of course, you got to pay for your rent, but
mm.
I, the other what you used to do, it sounds like that one has more uh I guess that one has more notion towards investing, towards putting money back into the business.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm used to. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I
Hmm.
want it to grow, so I want to keep
Yeah.
feeding it. But profit first, which we're freelancers, we're solopreneurs at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
like it's on us. So why don't we get paid salaries that a CEO would get paid in a nonprofit and a for-profit who gets more shares, more stocks? Like I understand that part of it too, and I fear that it's going to make me start to cut back in some other areas that I feel like would actually help lead towards the growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, so that's what it talks about too. I'd really recommend reading it. There's a lot of information in there that it's kind of hard to, I guess, put into words without like actually like reading it, you know? I kind of just like understand it from my perspective, but it's kind of hard to put into words and there's a lot of detail. But like you're probably gonna like, at least for me, I don't know everybody, I don't know your situation, but like for me, like I said, I struggled when I first implemented it, you know. But the ultimate goal is to help you become profitable. And so it's
Mm.
teaching you how to become profitable, you know, like um when you decide, you know, to pay yourself, you know, so it says like the recommends the 10th and 25th of every month. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put, you know, whatever how much money, however much money you're making, you're gonna put a percentage into your profit account. So boom, now your profit already came out first, you're good to go. And then like it talks about too, like every quarter you're going to pay yourself a bonus. So like it's coming from your profit account, but you're able to pay yourself a bonus. Now you're like, oh, like I got this, you know, extra money coming in. So now you're kind of reaping the benefits of owning your own business because that's why we did, like we just, you know, just talked about a second ago.
Right.
So instead of having to just be like, dang, I don't know what I can do this month. I don't know what I can do that month. It's literally giving you like a system to follow, you know. So like how we have a system with playbook and we follow all these, you know, steps and automatizations and setting this stuff up. It's pretty much the same thing, just streamlining everything. So I definitely recommend, you know, I know it's tough, it's challenging. I was like, dang, like when I first started reading it, I was like, oh crap, man, like I don't know if I can do this, but I just did it, you know, and now it's working out great for me.
So do you still use QuickBooks?
um Kind of, a
Yeah.
little bit, not as much as I probably should be, but yeah, I definitely need to be using more, but I still have it. Yeah.
I just don't know how you. I gotta read the book, man, because I'm just like thinking, how do you set that up in QuickBooks, man? That sounds like
Mm.
a. Oof,
Yeah,
it's a
I know
lot.
once I started reading Profit First, I stopped kind of like using like QuickBooks. So yeah, it's I need to go back in there and start using it again though, but yeah.
Got you, got you. Okay, that's interesting. So
Mm,
if man, okay, I'll carry on though, because I could talk to you about that all day.
mm.
How has your how has your model changed since you've been in your gym? You talked to me about it via text before, but what have you done differently and how has it worked for you?
Yeah. So you know, one thing is like I've had like a lot of players and parents coming to me and they talk about I want, you know, this from my athlete. I want to see this, you know, get better. I want this to happen. And those people are only coming, you know, once a week or once every couple of weeks, once a month, twice a month, whatever it is. And it's kind of hard. And I'm telling like it's hard to see those results, you know, if they're only coming, you know, once a month. Like they're not going to really get anything out of it, to be honest. Like there's no really point. Like you might as well just like not really come. I mean, there's not going to. They might learn something, might be able to take it away, but it's not going to stick. It's not going to retain. They're not going to be able to apply it. So I created long-term commitments. And so players that now work with me or new players that have now like signed up to work with me, they're all longer term commitments. So 3 months, 6 month, 12 month, you know, whatever works best for them. And that way we're now able, because, you know, my goal is I want to make a transformation within these players. I want these players to transform. And if they, like I said, if they only come twice every month, there's going to be no transformation, you know. So in order for that, we created those longer term commitments, and it's going really well. Players are now locked in. They're committed. They're showing up, you know, once, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is, and they're seeing way better results. So it's helped just retain players, you know, bringing players back, and yeah, helped a
Would,
lot.
would you say so? And I've been considering doing well, man, because when people at first like I think it's natural to look at it from the money. Oh, you get to sorry, I'm bad. I get hard to hear of that.
No
It's
worries.
easy to look at it from the money perspective, like, oh yeah, you get to lock them in for 3 months, and then you don't have to worry about them leaving or anything like that. But that's a part of it. But the most important part, like you said, is once you start getting the results for them, it's easier to make that next ask. Like, hey, sign up for another 3 months. You see what we've done in the first 3 months. What
Mhm.
if we do that again? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
have you gone through a 3 month cycle yet with it, or are you just like in the beginning stages of doing it?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much about to come up. Pretty much all the people that started with it are going to be coming up in November. Yeah,
Got it.
November or October, mid October. They'll be coming up on their new 3 months. But it's all reoccurring. It's reoccurring every 3 months or every 6 months, whatever it is. So they know that it's going to be coming up. You know, I'll send them a reminder on a month, it renews, whatever, and they can tell me what they want to do with it. So
Right.
I'll give them a month heads up, and then yeah.
I mean, that's what. Man, look, there's some gyms here like I've been learning from. They're some of the best gyms in the upstate where I'm at, and they have a yearly contract. It's like they don't have to worry about sweating, and I think it's even more important for us to do it as trainers, man. For us to be able to have the peace of mind to do the job that we want to and can do, having that peace of mind, knowing that I've got this person for 3 months, I can make sure I have a program, a platform for them to be consistent with this invaluable, man. So kudos to you for doing that. A few more questions I got for you.
Hmm.
What are you, side note, I told one of my trainees I asked this. How far are you away from Ryan Rizuki?
About like 40, 45 minutes.
Okay, I was close. I told him an
Yeah,
hour. He
yeah. Honestly, it might be in traffic time. Honestly, I haven't really looked too far. I know how far away he is from my house, but I don't know how far away he is from my gym because it's a little bit farther. So yeah,
uh,
about 40. I would say about 40, 45.
okay. One of my trainees said, "Yeah, I'll train with Gabe to get better and train with Ryan to get on TikTok."
Oh wow, damn, damn.
He's one of
That's
those,
funny.
man. He's a funny
Yeah,
dude. He
that's
doesn't mean
funny.
funny, but he's just like super duper honest. Like
Yeah, that's funny.
Uh, cool. And so, what are you dreaming big for now, man? I know you've always been a go-getter, a dreamer,
Mhm.
and at one point you wanted your own gym. At one point you wanted to train full time. You've done it. You've done the gym. What is the next phase that you're really dreaming for right now, if anything?
Yes. So I want to build out like a team, you know, like so I've just got my first intern. I have like one guy that he's like one of my college players, but he's been training with me since he was in sixth grade. And he knows me really well, knows how I operate. So I have him on like just part time on Sundays. He comes every Sunday, helps me out on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm looking to just build out a team, and just work on, you know, because it's hard. When I first started opening up the gym, it was only me, you know, so I was training, you know, 8, you know, to 10 kids at once, which is fine. I can do it. It's manageable, but it helps having other eyes out there, you know, being able to me be on one hoop, the other guy on the other hoop, and we're just kind of working. We have able to focus with our, you know, 4 to 8 that we have, our 4 to 5 that we have, you know, and he's able to focus on his 4 to 5. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, building a team is definitely the next thing. And I haven't really thought, you know, too far, you know, past that. That's been like the biggest thing right now.
Got it.
Oh,
Got
and actually, I've been planning this for a long time, just haven't done it yet. Was building a confidence course. So just mindset,
it.
you know, just helping players understand the mental side of the game. I was literally going to do it. Thought I had everything I needed, and then I read the Inner Game of Tennis, and it's literally changed everything. So now I'm like, dang, So now I'm like, okay, so the ideas I had, I'm gonna now have to change those up a little bit and add, I guess, some of the stuff that I'm learning from this.
Okay.
So it's probably not going to be until sometime next year.
Yeah.
The goal was to have it done by the end of the summer.
Mm.
And then I got intergaming tennis, and I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna start it too. Like, was planning on starting it in the next couple of weeks, but then I read this, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen yet. So, yeah, sometime next year, I'm gonna have like a full on mindset course. Yeah, just breaking down the mental side of the game.
Excited to see that, man. And last question,
Mhm.
you know, I got to throw it in there. Any suggestions or wisdom for any trainer who is just getting started, who has maybe 5 or 10 clients, who needs help with scheduling, automating their reminders, a calendar? Why would you
Mhm.
suggest, if you would suggest the playbook to that trainer?
Playbook, 100% got to be on it. There's no reason why you shouldn't be on it. Like it's literally like I've said in the past, it's changed the way I've ran my business, and it's literally like, even though it's it's an investment, it's taken my revenue, my income. I've made more money than I ever made before. When I first jumped on it, I think it was 2020.
Mm.
From 2020 to 2021, doubled my income just because of the playbook, and all of its features and what it's done. So if you are a trainer, no matter if you're just starting or you are, been doing this for years, you definitely got to switch over and make that move to the playbook, because it will not only change your business, it will save your business, and it's gonna give you more free time just because of everything it allows you to do. The systems that you can set up, automations and whatnot. So it's a game changer.
Gabe, man, I appreciate you, boss. I'm gonna jump on this follow through Friday now. Thanks for joining, man. It was good
Oh
talking
yeah,
to you,
for
catching
sure.
up.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was good talking to you too, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later.
All right, yep. Take care, Marcin.